Hello legends and super legends. Welcome to Veloharmony. By now you may have already seen the team kit. I did a review on it Friday, and my plan is I'm actually finishing the processing, and I plan to load it before I leave or shortly after we get back, depending on how fast the processing is. You never know the codecs. Sometimes they take a while longer than you plan. But today is the first day of us taking out the team kit on the road. Paul and Alan are joining me. They've committed. And Alan got him a team kit as soon as it came. And then Paul had already pre-ordered a couple of sets of team kits. And then when it got here, he liked it so much he said he wanted more. So we sold out of sizes pretty quickly. But I've set it up on the website on veloharmony.com, in the web store on the clothing. You have the option, if you don't see your sizes, you can order, you can pre-order for the next batch. And it takes about 4 to 6 weeks. It's a pretty quick process. Now that they have our design and we're in their system, it's going to be pretty quick. But if you've seen the review, you've seen the recommended colors that I think this kit goes well with real dark accessories. Like my helmet I'm wearing will be black. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. What I'm doing this morning really is my usual routine. Let me put this mic over here. I'm going to just put Gatorade, because I cooked last night for the girls, and we ended up sampling food, and well, after 10 o'clock I was snacking on stuff, so I'm not hungry this morning. So what I'm going to do, I already have one bottle with ice and water here. And it's not supposed to be too bad today as far as temperature, so, but you never know. So I'm going to put Gatorade. I've got ice in here about halfway, and I'm just going to put the Gatorade on there. I love the Gatorade diluted. I don't like it full strength when I'm on the bike. So the ice in there works great and will keep it cold. So that's going to go on the bike over here. I'm taking the blue bike. She's sitting over here ready. And what I usually do is I put the Gatorade straight upright, just in case this bottle leaks. I don't have any sticky things on my bike. That's what I do. And I'm definitely going to be wearing the black helmet. I've tried the kit with black and white helmet, and either one will work fairly well, but I think black really enhances the kit. I think that's the one that really sets it apart. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready. So Super Legends, heading out is seems a little foggy, just light fog this morning. But Time to go meet the boys. Hope you guys and girls get a chance to get some miles in. Hook up with Paul and Alan. You can see the fog. My neighbors. Good morning. Good. Putting on my light. So it's a bit overcast this morning. I'm gonna put this in follow mode. Let's see here, mode. Follow, good. Follow mode works best when you're doing selfies because as I move my arm, the camera goes up. So I've got my rear light going there, got the front light going here. Ready to roll. Love the kit. Came out really well. I gotta send a thank you note to the Santini folks. See, it's like a soup. Alan's here. This is a truck. Man, I love that kit. I mean, even with this fog, man, I spotted you. I'm telling you, it is visible, man. I spotted you even with the fog. How you doing? Good. Even with the fog, man, I spotted you. Yeah. That thing pops. It's very visible, man. I thought, you know, because we're doing the base was going to be black, I thought it would be darkness. Yeah. I spotted you as I turned. I was like, man.
I didn't see Paul on the way here, but it's foggy. So this
yeah, I got my lights going and everything. It should clear up in a little while. Turn this thing off. Roll and check him out.
Yeah.
Man, Melissa wanted to come to take our picture. I said, come on, go back to bed. I said, we'll find a way to get somebody to take our picture. Man, you look the business, man. Man, I told Alan last night, I said, Paul is like a kid in a candy store. You know?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's how we do it.
Man. Yeah.
Looking good, man.
Man. I mean, the bike, your bike and everything, all the black from your tape, your saddle. So the bike pops. I was telling Alan when I was pulling up here, I pulled up
And you know, with the fog,
Yeah.
I spotted him. He was standing behind here. The jersey just jumps out, man.
Yep.
Against the backdrop, I could just see he was standing with his back to the road. And I was like, man,
That's it.
the
man.
jersey is visible, man. No question about it. No question about it,
Yeah, man.
man.
Man, what a day! What a day!
Yeah, no, it'll burn off. But
Looking
hey,
good, my man.
yeah, man, yeah. And so what I did was, I took another picture with the white, like Alan has, white socks, white shoes. It works. And then if you have a white helmet, white socks, white shoes like that. Cause the letter on the chest. I did a picture. I didn't send it, but I did a picture just to see.
I was looking at the Specialized, the S-Works, the helmets, and the head one. Specialized doesn't have it now because it's a year old. Black like this, and it's got orange like.
Oh, that would be
perfect,
sweet.
man.
Look around for it, man. You know what? Since it's older, it might be less expensive because they want too much for those things.
I know. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna find the picture. I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Man.
Yeah, we have tons of options with this, man. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, you can play.
We can do with the black,
Yeah.
do with the white. I mean,
Oh yeah.
orange, you name it,
Yeah.
red.
There's a lot to.
I just hope this stuff left up, man.
Yeah, I know, but I just want to get our initial rollout, and then I'll turn it off and we can film when it clears up.
Okay.
Yeah, because right now, like Alan said, you really can't.
Yeah. We are.
These are the boys. Melissa wanted to get a shot of all of us. This is a shot. Yeah, I see it. It looks like paper bag. Yeah, it's a paper bag. Somebody dropped there's a box in it. Somebody dropped breakfast or something.
Yeah, I'm waving this driver through. He's been sitting there. He had the right of way. I wanted him to go before we.
Man, this is like a soup, but you know, it's below 70 this morning. So it's a little cooler than we've had.
Yeah.
Just a little cooler than we've had.
There we go.
This it works. I mean, you know, we're not gonna get all of our stuff with it. I want to get early, and then we'll get Ridge Lake Shores. Maybe on the way back a little bit. We'll shorten it a bit today. As far as the filming, you know, get a few areas. So.
We have a long stretch too.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to get that highway. You know how that highway is kind of cool. So you think I should turn it off here?
Yeah.
We're warming up.
The situation with that driver I was waving through, we got a lot of that after we got this kit. People would just stop and just follow
They can
us.
see what we see, feel what we feel.
And when they need to go, they would not go. We got a lot of that this
The
weekend.
light
It's
is a
very
little
unusual.
further down. Yeah. It's okay. You can still see it, but it's a little further down. That's okay. It's a tricky one.
The fog is
We're
thick
good
here.
though.
Yeah, Alan doesn't have a light, and so we're gonna
Next time
probably
we take
put him in
corner
the
or
middle.
something, I will adjust.
Okay.
There's a car behind us. I'm waving him by. We can actually see better than you see on the screen here. It's just that the lens on the camera is picking up all the condensation, so it actually looks murkier than it actually is, even with the fog. And so I think later on I clean the lens for Paul. So we have a little visibility, I would say probably a quarter mile. It is very, very foggy this morning. In certain areas it's light, but it's heavy here. So right here we decide to sandwich Alan because he has no light in the front or the rear. And I have a front white light, and Paul has lights front and rear as well. So this worked out perfectly.
Yeah, I was gonna say Alan stay in the middle.
So yeah, we put Alan in the middle because he doesn't have a light on his bike. I put my shades on the back of my head, pointed the opposite way because you just can't use them. Everything just gets misty on it, and I see better without them right now. So I just put them in the back. It's a good spot for the shades, or you can hook them on your jersey, the back of the neck. So right here we stopped to adjust Paul's light.
Remember that second stop? No. Okay.
Get in front of me and stop. You can see it, but we need to move it up just a little. You stay right there like that.
Okay.
You go that way. Well, just sandwich Alan.
All
The
right.
light looks great.
Go ahead.
When you get home, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay. I tried to mark that section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Paul's light was a little low in the position, and it was blocked by the rear triangle on his bike. So I moved it down to where now it's even more visible. I'm waving a vehicle by here. The lens on the camera has picked up condensation. That's what you're seeing, this little film on here. So we can see a lot better, but at this point I wasn't thinking about the lens, and in a short while I helped Paul clean it. So the visibility is a lot better than what you're seeing here. And once we clean the lens, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's not as heavy as it appears because the lens is obscured. The gimbal had like moisture on it, as if to say it'd been in the rain and all of that. The lights on my bike and on Paul's bike were perfect for this situation. I was telling the boys about 2 nights ago before the ride, I stayed up and rode my bike like 3 hours indoors because the day was crazy busy and I didn't have time during the day. So I did it after the kids went to bed. And Alan was like, I can't do that. I can't do 3 hours inside. And I had to ride. It was just like the week had been crazy. I needed to get my body ready.
Hold it there.
I'm trying to clean the camera here. My hand broke the lens. Right there. As you can see, that's high. That's a better
Get
representation.
the mist on it. What's the angle on the camera?
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Tilt it up.
You think?
Probably got about a quarter mile, no more than a quarter mile visibility. You can see out in the distance
Hold
there.
it level for me.
It just, it's heavy fog that just came
Is that
to,
level?
just seemed to
Flat,
drift
the other way,
in.
yeah.
So we're working on technical issues here with the camera, just adjusting the angle of it.
Yeah, parallel. That's how you set it. See the camera?
Yeah.
Then you move it. It was
Yeah.
off. That's the best way to set it to
Okay.
parallel.
So both Paul and I are trying to figure out the little intricacies of working with the
Okay.
gimbal.
So every now and then.
Yeah, every now and then.
Right.
We're still well into our warm-up. The ride's, it's almost 40 minutes riding. So the fog is not that much of an issue for us because, we've got, like you can see my rear light, you can see my front light.
Yeah.
See the condensation on it.
Yeah.
It looks good.
I just leave those lights on the bike all the time. The weight is negligible. I actually like where the rear light is very visible. The SMP saddle has a little plastic hook that I use to put that light on, and it's just perfect. It's the best spot, I think, before it's out of the way and it's visible. The fog is getting thicker as we head out. quoting Morpheus from the Matrix. I was saying that the fog can do its worst. We're still here. And I was referencing his comments when he was making a speech to the people of Zion. The Matrix trilogy. The speech was from Matrix Revolutions. We are still here, Mr. Fogg. We're riding here. As the New Yorkers say, we're riding here. That's a spin-off on We're Walking Here. New Yorkers are famous for that. I'm walking here. When they try to, when cab drivers are trying to push them around. So shortly after this, we turn the camera off.
Yeah.
Right here, Paul Hansen.
Man, look at the body of the thing. Oh. Like we're riding in the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, the camera's
Man.
all wet.
A little bit, I decided to put the camera back on.
While I was messing
I
with
fell
the
behind
camera,
the voice a little bit.
I fell
I had
behind
to get up there.
on a climb. The road.
It's the worst time to close the gap on a climb.
So now I'm having to work to get back in there after getting the camera all set up, clean the lens and everything. And it's clearing. The fog is lifting.
See the sun's coming out. We're good. I was messing with the camera back there.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is the worst time to close the gap on the climb.
Yeah.
Finally, we can see, man.
Yeah.
Come on. Your glasses are foggy. Wipe them on the jersey, see if that helps. Car back.
Yeah, Paul's having the same challenge I was having. Alan also had to take off his glasses for a while because of the mist. And so Paul's trying to clean his glasses.
Why don't you try wiping them?
I have mine on the back of my neck. I'm not putting them on right now because they're not working too well with the mist.
Car back.
It's a little tricky for Paul to wipe those glasses because we have wind swirling around a little bit. Paul's kid looks nice. He's got white in the sock there. It really matches well. So he takes the camera from me. This is a slight downhill, flat to just maybe no more than a -1. We got so many compliments on this kit all this weekend. I'm looking at it and I can see how the back really pops. It's a very, very visible kit. There's like a dead turtle on the road here. And, we get a lot of turtles trying to cross and they don't make it. And sometimes, I try to stop and help them across. They go in their shell, so they're pretty easy to get across. But they're kind of peaceful little guys. I hate to see them crushed on the road there. So we're heading towards, there's a short climb coming up, and it's steep. And Alan's picking up the pace here before the climb. And you can see my cadence going up. Now we're into the climb, and you see I'm pedaling 110. You see the 3 logos on the back of the kit, the one in the middle of the pocket, and then 2 on the pants. Forms almost like a triangle. Looks really cool. It looks the business. And then the bands on the legs help with visibility as well. So you don't just have a continuous black shoulder. So you can see I pick up my cadence again. Alan's picked up the speed as we approach this slight rise here. I'm in zone 3 through this effort here. I just rolled through to keep my momentum going. Alan had been pulling for a while in the climbs. This is a gradual drag, a gradual grade, we call it. This guy had passed us earlier, and now he's parked over here. I'm not sure what it is. It looks like some utility. Now I want you guys to notice how early I unclip here. We're not at the light yet. Unclip, roll, and put my foot down. That's the key. Unclip early so you don't forget like I did, because that was not cool.
So if the camera's touching any part of your body,
Yeah.
and you turn the gimbal off,
Yeah.
do that because it strains the motor.
Okay.
The camera has to be free.
Okay.
That's what I meant when I said when you mess with the camera, you turn the gimbal off first.
Okay.
And then the motors have to work too hard because they're trying to straighten the camera while you touching. Yeah.
Because I turned the camera first and then.
Yeah, we're just fine. You can turn the camera on. Is the camera on now?
Yeah, it is on.
Okay.
Yeah, we're discussing the fact that if anything touches the gimbal that's too heavy, it just quits basically because it's calibrated to handle a range of weights.
Morning.
And so if you're touching it or it's rubbing against you and you try to power it on, it won't steady the camera. And I think it does that to avoid messing up the calibration. That's what we're talking about. So it's possible that when you're starting it up, you want to make sure you don't touch the gimbal. So over here I spot this car coming out, and instinctively I moved a little more to my left. That makes you more visible and it gives you a little more room. I always do that just on instinct. Whenever there's a blind corner or something like a driveway jutting out and you think they can't see you, use more of the lean. A lot of these roads here are between anywhere from 1 to 3 or 4%. So right here, Paul says car back. I waved them over, and then you see me stick my arm out. I look behind, saw the car, but I let the driver know we're taking the road. because this is a turn circle. And that truck on the right, he's coming, but he has to yield to us in the turn circle. So once I get to the turn circle, I move over here because that driver that was behind us slowed down in the turn circle, so the truck ends up being behind us. So if you watch, I'm going to start looking back because I'm actually backing off the power. I'm looking back, expecting this truck driver to come and pass us while we got plenty of room here. And he's just sitting back there. So I look back again. And I tell the guys to slow down, so I'm hoping he's going to pass. Then he slows down. So I just go right here. Because this bridge, they have those little, see those little square plastic things. I don't know if it's plastic or ceramic. The little dots. You don't want to ride over them. They're uncomfortable. It's like riding over rocks. And they stuck those over there on the bridge.
Yeah.
He waited till the bridge to come by.
He waits till when he's on the bridge and then tries to pass.
Well, the thing is, I was waiting for him.
Yeah.
He slowed down. Slow down for what? Let's go. Don't drive that thing. Drive it. Drive it like he stole it.
Oh man, we got a lot of that this weekend. People just sitting behind us, admiring the kit. We noticed the difference. People followed us more for longer periods instead of passing. We got a lot of that. We got people rolling down their windows. This lady followed us for a while, came by in the other lane, slowed down, rolled down her windows to compliment us on the kit, then went back behind us to follow us. And so Paul was saying a family slowed down and put their windows down Saturday after this ride, started clapping in traffic when he was on the way home after the ride. So I've never gotten that kind of attention, and I've been riding for a very long time. So there's something about this kid that just catches people, you know, and I don't know what it is. I mean, it's a beautiful kid and everything, but we even got a cyclist that chased us on Sunday. Paul and I was spinning, and some guy I had met years ago that I had forgotten. And so he saw the kid from a distance and wanted to come and get a closer look. So he ended up, he's one of our legends now, his name is Frankie. So this kid, there's something about this kid that just, you know, when I'm finishing with this, when I finish with this editing, I'm going to send something to Santini, the representative, just let him know that the kid was well received, and you know, we're definitely going to be getting more. Because this stuff's almost sold out. I got a few shorts left. It seems people bought more jerseys than the full kit. So next time, I'll just order more jerseys. But I'm going to be ordering based on pre-orders. So we're not stuck with extras that much. But they sold quickly. We just got a few left. So I've been modifying the sizes online, so people are not frustrated, just to make sure they know what's left. So please go ahead and pre-order, so we can get a batch. It doesn't take long, and this is the best time of year to buy kits because the pro teams are off. The season's over. Santini's not going to be busy, so this is the best time for us to do another batch. We don't want to do it in April. That's when everybody's ordering, and so it's a little slower. So now is the time when they're slow. So right here, I picked up a camera from Paul. Get the boys on film here. Paul's leading us to Ridge Lake Shores. Ridge Lake Shores has some nice climbs, beautiful roads. It's just an awesome little area. Has an aquatic theme. They have ship anchors when you enter the subdivision. They look really cool. The road narrows here because of this construction they're doing out here. They don't seem to be making a whole lot of progress, but I'm sure they have to prep the surface and all that stuff. I'm anxiously awaiting the completion to see what they lay out. Unfortunately, they don't do anything special for non-motorized traffic in Texas at this point. I know California has their rules where you make the right lane, I think 9 feet or something like that. So We need something like that. It's about time. This is the 21st century. We turn right here into Ridge Lake Shores.
They used to have this big boat right up here, Alan, where this tree is, on this platform. They had a boat there, right here in the middle. They had a boat.
When the subdivision was newly opened, they had an actual boat setting up. That's what I was mentioning to Alan, because of the aquatic theme. There's a guy called Jimmy Houston, famous fisherman, that supports this area, and he sponsored it and gave them advice on how to lay out the lakes.
Some guy named Jimmy Houston, fisherman, professional fisherman. Yeah. He's the sponsor for this place. They did an aquatic theme. They have multiple lakes in here. We were on here last time. Yeah, yeah. They used to have an actual boat sitting up there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You gotta come up to me, man. I can't go back to here.
Yeah, Paul was trying to get the camera. We're going downhill. I was moving faster than he was. And I was like, I can't go back to you. You got to come up to me. So he's got the camera now. There's the first of 3. I think I have 3 lakes in here. It's a really nice playground area and the lake, and you can actually fish. I don't know if you're allowed to keep the fish yet, but I think the first few years you had to put them back. The kid looks the business, man. I mean, the color scheme almost looks kind of earth tone, you know, the way that they faded into the black, especially on the right, and you got the orange. I mean, just more options. So I'm gonna look for some socks that match that band. I gotta, you know, I may have to just take my time. It's a yellowish orange, so you got to do it right.
Did Donna do her research on this place, Alan?
This is a climb right here. As soon as we turn, that's a climb. It's long and it's nice and steep. I think Alan even makes a joke that it's a Mont Ventoux. Right there, Alan said it's Mont Ventoux. So it's nice and long, and then it's broken up by this stop sign on the right here. The good thing is there's no car there. There's a 4-way stop sign, so we look and we don't have to break our rhythm, because when you do, it's like it's a drag. And I'm on a small chain ring. Alan's on the small chain ring. He's spinning nicely. When Paul is quiet, he's looking for shots, because that's what I found out. We talked about it. We're laughing about it after this ride. Because in this ride, I asked him, man, you quiet back there, what you doing? Talking about, I'm filming, man. That's what I do. The cinematographer from the Republic of the Congo. It has been so nice having Paul take these shots, because I always filmed other people, and I never got to see myself ride. Even when I competed, you know, back in the day, we didn't have smartphones that prevalent. Nobody was taking pictures. You know, somebody came out here and said, oh, I want to see pictures. I think it was Wayne. And I started to look, and I don't have that many. I mean, we didn't take that many. The races were held in obscure little towns, and, you know, it would be nice to have these and put some kind of documentary together. So I sent an email to some of the guys I raced with in Austin to see what they have, so I can put something together, if possible, down the road. But we're going to start doing more active stuff as the channel grows, and with the support I'm getting from you guys, the super legends. I'll be able to spend more time cycling. We're going to do more Grand Fondos. So November 4th, we're going to do a Grand Fondo.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to, we're looking for, there's a thing called, what's the name of it? There are magnets that you can use for your race numbers instead of pins. we're laughing about the deer. I made the comment that we should make an appointment with the deer, give them an intersection and a time so they can show up because we're looking for deer. That's what Paul's laughing at.
Yeah.
Everybody built their own. They sold lots. Yeah, they just sold lots.
Alan said he had nice houses, so I told him they just sold lots. And he lives in a subdivision where they just sold lots, so everybody got to design their homes. So he.
Good spot to train.
Yeah.
I said a good spot to train.
Yeah, it is good for training. You can ride a 10-mile loop in this subdivision without hitting any busy roads. It's pretty big. So while I was talking about there is a thing, I found a brand. I've got to find the name.
All the builders have this sign. Everybody was selling, the service.
Yeah.
We don't plan on using any pins on our kit when we go to Grand Fondos and whatever. And those of you who race or do whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Those pins, they put rust on your stuff if you forget them there with the perspiration. And they ruin the fabric. These fabric, they're very technical, and these things are not inexpensive. Here, Alan takes off on a sprint, and I decide I'm going to play. So you can see my cadence is up. I'm sprinting, sit down, winding it, and you hear that wind. He made the comment that we had a tailwind. I don't know about no tailwind. So I saw I think I saw 48 kilometers an hour. I don't remember. But it was a pretty good sprint, and we were taken by surprise. So I got up to him here. Once he slowed down, I just rolled through. I'm right in zone 3 here. And we're coming up to the three-way stop sign that leads to the climb. So the race thing I'm talking about, to attach your number without ruining your jersey, they're called race dots. I contacted the company. They seem to make the best ones. There are a lot of people that make magnets that don't hold the race number very well. These guys do the ones that hold better than even those pins can ever do. And it doesn't ruin your fabric or anything. So I contacted them, hopefully just requesting that they send me some samples so I can expose you guys to it. And if they don't, I may just purchase some and try them, because I don't want to put any pins on this kit. So that's what we're going to be doing, because the race dots will hold your jersey. Now here, Alan comes around, he picks up the pace. You can see my cadence, because once I start working, I kick up the cadence, because then I can respond to changes in speed. So he picked it up for a little bit, then he slowed down. Now the climb is coming. You can see it in the distance there. There's a car coming. So we're playing here. So after that little acceleration back there, now he did a second one here. So he moves to the left, and I'm just sitting in the draft because the wind's coming from the left. There's a guy walking a dog. After we pass the guy, Alan accelerates and goes right there. Then he slows down, and then I go. Now this is a long acceleration. I think it's about 21 to 25 seconds. And this is a climb. And I'm in a good sized gear. Like a 53-17 or something. And you can see how long I'm holding that. So then I sit and just maintain. Paul captured everything nicely. So you can hear the wind. So we're going into the wind, up a hill. We're still climbing. It's a little below 1%, but it's still up here. Until we get to that corner. Right before the corner, it goes a little downhill. So that was about a 22 to 25 second sprint up that climb. I got into the bottom of zone 4, something like that. a mid zone 4. So the magnetic number attachment system is what they refer to it as. Instead of using pins on your nice cycling jersey, you use magnets. One goes on the inside of your jersey, one goes on the outside, and they lock into each other. And that's why I like the race dots, because the other ones don't lock in, so the number can get out of place. So I'm giving about maybe a week or so. If they don't send me samples, I'll order a set and do a review for the channel, because I think this is the way to go, so you don't ruin your jerseys. Putting pins through these fabrics, it's just not the best thing to do. We're not sponsored like the pros, where we get jerseys every season to where we can do that with impunity. There was a bump in there. It was one of those that were disguised. Alan got a piece of it. I tried to put my hand out when I saw it at the last minute. It's now a clear bump. So we turn right here, and this is the climb. It's a climb. As soon as you turn, you're on a climb. And it's significant. It's about 3% or more. And I just kept my momentum. Yeah, 4% there. So it's a pretty good climb. It's 4 point something because it kicks. Until this, after this mailbox, it doesn't lessen up. Then right there, I sat down. You can kind of feel it. I just kept the gear rolling here. There was a guy named Wayne, one of our newest super legends. Welcome to the channel, Wayne. I've been communicating with him. He put a comment out there, and I just made it clear that, you know, getting this jersey, it was there's a deer over there on the left as we come down here, and he takes off.
Look at the deer.
And we've been talking about deer.
You asked for it, here it is.
Tell your friend. I'm 40.
And should have kept it together.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Freeze
It's
frame
gonna
it.
be dinner for tonight.
Go left. Left here.
Yeah, because we've been talking about making an appointment with the deer. So Paul said you asked for it, there it is. So I told the deer to tell his friends. 9:40, meet us. Oh man, it's a warm day, but while we're on the bike, we did not feel uncomfortably hot. When we stop, that's when you can feel it. So we're rolling along here, and it's a slight downhill, not much. Let's get 3%. Alan takes off, he's accelerating. You can see our speed's 54 kilometers an hour. So I basically got into play. I said, oh, so it's flat, and then we're going up that little bump again. So the speed's dropping in the 40s. So just enough to stretch your legs. Alan's always trying to get your blood flowing. That's what he does. So I like having Alan on the ride. Paul's filming, so we get to play. It's a lot of fun. So this was just a sweet ride. So Alan he does enough to wake you up and say, oh hey, we're riding here. Alan must be from New York. He doesn't let you fall asleep on the bike. So the cool thing is we can go to 54 kilometers an hour, slight downhill now. There's a little bit of a grade here. This road will take us to the highway that takes us back into town, the busy highway. Got a bit of a wardrobe malfunction there. My white stripe is off kilter there on the left leg anyway. Yeah, I'm kind of ADD like that. Anyway, I didn't know about it, so I didn't find out till I got home. Then I noticed it. I was like, "Come on, man, really?" So I made a mental note to check that next time. That's a Rafa sock I'm wearing. It's real inexpensive. And while I'm talking about it, you see, guys, let me freeze this. That's where you place your race numbers. That's why I want to get those race dots. There is no reason to put anything on your jersey with this kind of a kit where you see the jersey is designed to sit on the bones above your hip. You place your race numbers right between those two SMS logos, and that's where they're gonna go. And I'm not putting any pins on my shorts, so the race dots are gonna be the perfect product to do that. And that's what I want to do. So I've already contacted the company, as I said earlier. If they respond, great. If they don't, I guess I'll just get a set, because I'm not putting any things on there. So if you put your number over there, you don't have to worry about the wind. There is no wind going back there. That's how the pros do it when they do time trials. They place the number way back there. It's out of the way. You don't sit there. So it's perfect. You don't have to worry about, oh, can I reach into my pocket without messing up my numbers, all of that. So that's where our numbers will go, right in that gray area between the two horizontal SMS logos. So we'll come to the highway here. We're going to turn left.
What is this guy doing?
There's a guy sitting in the middle of the intersection. Just stopped on the road heading north. He just stopped on the right of way. I don't understand what he was doing. This is crazy. But at least he moved before somebody came up to him. So there's somebody turning left here in a big truck here. So we move over so he can have room. So after these guys, the road's clear. We're going south. You can see the course, the last overlay value there. That's the course. Yeah, Alan kind of almost ran off the road there. He said something about the gearing. I'm not sure what was going on. I didn't know that till I saw the clip. But Alan has good bike handling skills, so he handled that fairly well. So there was no issue there. So yeah, you have to watch the edge of the road where that pavement goes off a little bit. You don't want to ride there. It can cause you to fall. But I think he was on the edge. I don't think he quite went off the road like I thought when I initially saw this. He was on the edge of the pavement. He recovered it. At this point here, my left leg just started getting a twinge in it. So I started to stand, because every time I try to sit and pedal, because this is a 4% grade. As soon as we turn, this is a grade right here. You can see the overlay. It says 3 right now. It gets to 4 point something. And I could not sit down and pedal without my hamstring trying to tighten up. So I decided to nurse, and that's a key. If your hamstrings are tightening up, you can see I stretched my leg there a little bit. I'm rubbing the muscle, and I decided I'm gonna stand until it works itself out, because I know I'm well hydrated and everything. But maybe I did too much this week, because I rode a lot indoors, and so maybe my leg hadn't recovered or whatever. But it was only for this stretch, and then I was fine. So right there, I'm stretching my leg because we're going downhill. And then I tried to pedal seated, and it started to tighten up again, my hamstring. So I just stood up. As I stood up, it started feeling great. It started feeling better. So I decided I would just stand in a heavier gear until it worked the kinks out, because that's what it felt like, a knot in the back of my leg. It was painful, but standing relieved everything. So if you're cramping, you either want to stand and pedal or stand and stretch. You know, you kind of lean over on that leg. So right there, I sat back down because my legs started feeling better. And if you watch, we're doing 24 kilometers an hour here. We don't do a lot of passing here because it's very narrow. So if you get to the front, you got to plan on pulling until the road widens, because it is a busy road. I'm hoping that they widen it, give us a better shoulder when they're done, because they're doing construction. The sad thing is, in our state, they don't do a lot of specific bike products. I mean, as far as for access. except when they do those hike and bike trails, which don't work for fast riding, because people socialize there, and which is fine. So right here, my legs loosening up. You can see we're going downhill. The speed's picking up, and I'm fine because I was well hydrated. So I don't know exactly what that was about, but so I'm feeling good. I'm back to my old self, and I just settled into a rhythm here. Getting to the base of top of zone 3 here, and it's as if to say there were no issues at this point. I felt good. I was 100%. So. And then when I got home, I didn't have any lingering effects from it. So I don't know what was going on, but the body was telling me something. Maybe we played too much out there in Ridge Lake Shores. So that's my hope, that they give us a wider shoulder when they finish this road, because sometimes they just forget about accommodating other forms of mobility. You know, this is the 21st century, guys. Come on. So even though we have 2 lanes here, mostly we try to use half of this 1 lane as much as possible. The only thing with that is some of these people, like right here, you see, he's trying to pass in his lane. He gave me maybe 2 feet. It's a little closer than, especially at those speeds. I mean, he slowed down a little bit when he went by, but he really should have passed in the other lane. I mean, I'm not gonna go all the way by the white line to take over the lane per se on a busy road like this, but in the city of Houston, which we're not in right now on this ride, there is an ordinance that says you're supposed to give a cyclist 3 feet minimum. The problem is most people are not even aware of the ordinance. So even though he had to go all the way over to the white line, he squeezed by in the lane instead of just using the left lane. And those are the kind of decisions they make, and they end up messing up, you know, because not all cyclists hold a straight line. So what if you pass somebody who's weaving? You know, I give cyclists a wide berth because several reasons. What if the time you pass that cyclist, something happens and they have to swerve and you end up hitting them? I don't need that headache. So I don't understand why people make these kind of decisions that can put others at risk when it's not really necessary. He didn't gain any time over there, you know. So for the most part, I mean, all I try to do is ride as safely as possible and, you know, hope for the best. But you just have to be careful when you're out there. There's another one who must pass in that lane. I'm not really sure why. I basically give people a wide berth. So if we have a shoulder, we use it. If we don't, and you saw me look behind before taking over the lane, we're coming to a light here.
I saw you checking it.
I was telling Paul that my legs had been tightening up. He said he saw me shaking my leg. I did the illustration of that driver passing me just to let you know that regardless, when you're riding, just be aware. You know, you don't want headphones on. You want to be aware. You want to be conscious of what's going on. So for the most part, I hear these cars. I'm always looking back. And Paul filmed me with the demonstration I'm going to release later this week that shows how to look back without changing your line. You have to be aware of what's going on. That's all you can do. You know, there's no reason to be paranoid about it. He passed me within 2 feet. It wasn't as close as I've had other yahoos pass me. 2 feet is okay, but he didn't even need to pass in our lane. He could have just gotten behind that other car and passed. So that's why we stay as far to the right as is practical within reason. You know, if it's safe, you have to make a judgment call. I'm not there to impede traffic, but with the 2 lanes here, you can see there are no cars passing us in this lane that much. So when we can and when we need to, we use the lane. We check, we use the lane. But he saw me in that lane. He should have just moved over. So he moved over to the white line, slowed down, and still passed within 2 feet of me. Well, if you can do all of that, you can get behind the next car. So just don't let them get you upset when they do stuff. And you know, I've seen cyclists flipping them off and doing all. Don't get into that, because it can escalate the situation, and it does not lead to anything positive. You know, just if they do something crazy, you know, don't gesture obscenely. It doesn't look good for anyone. Just keep that in mind. Just stay under control, take a deep breath, and enjoy your ride. Don't let them ruin your ride. I used that situation here, which was not a big deal for me, just to point that out. Don't let one incident ruin your ride or let it escalate out of control, you know, because you never know what these people got going on with them. Anyway, back to cycling. So here Alan's been pulling for a while, and we're going. I know that climb is coming where it gets really busy and it gets really narrow, and we found out that they had moved the barrels kind of in our way on our little bitty shoulder, because they're working more and more, so they moved those construction barrels. So we had to pretty much skim the white line because it's very busy up there. He slows down here, and I told him I got him. I moved to the front, and I just took over. And you guys can see I look behind, just partially. You don't need to look all the way around. You just need one of your eyes on the lane, just a tilt of your head. I think the light's changing here, so we're probably backing off so we don't have to stop, so we can roll to it as it changes, because it's a very short light over here. Now, knowing that we've got the wind, and we've got about, I'm estimating 4 miles or so to climb. 3 to 4 miles, something like that. And Alan had already said that he was low on water, so he wanted us to stop at the nearest place, which makes sense because it was a humid morning. So right after the climb here, there's a chevron, and so that's what's on my mind at this point. It's just to keep the effort consistent here. My heart rate may say 148, 149, but I am in zone 3 into zone 4 already, legs wise. So the heart rate has to catch up. And this is what I talk about, this road being busy. This can be unnerving for new riders to ride in such a situation where, you know, you got this small shoulder. So take heart, it's doable. This is Lake Creek we're going over. At this point, I'm just trying to keep the effort focused. You can see the hill coming up there. It's at least 3.5 to 4 thereabouts. I don't know if the overlay would show that, but This is where they started moving those construction barrels in the shoulders already narrow, and they just placed them on the shoulder in certain parts. So you can see this guy came around real slow, just, you know, being careful. Got a cyclist going the other way also. A lot of people ride this road. This is the only way to get north to south from Conroe on this route to the Woodlands. So we're headed south to the Woodlands because of all these lakes. That's the only bridge, the only practical way anyway. So you can see the barrels are there. So what I'm doing here is I'm riding the white line, and the driver, now look at this other one. He didn't need to do all that. I mean, we're doing 20 kilometers an hour. What is that? 13 miles an hour, if that. You don't need to do all that. I don't know why they do that. So anyway, we're staying next to it because some parts we have the shoulder, some parts the barrel's in the way. You can see that right there. And all I'm trying to do is shepherd the guys to make sure we don't ride in any debris. So I'm looking ahead. If the barrels are too close, I come to the left of the white line a little bit, and so the drivers can move over. And right here we got a shoulder, I just move back. So I'm only using what I absolutely have to. If the shoulder is not good for riding, I will use part more of the lane. And the drivers recognize that. I mean, it's clear that this road is narrow. They know we ride out here. I'm hoping that this will make sure that these guys that are building the road and all the reps, you know, I've been sending notes to Austin and different places to see how we get dibs on this. I've been trying to send email to the local. We have a cycling group that gets with the city, you know, but I don't know Montgomery County who does that. But I've been sending notes just to let them know, you know, on 2978 Fish Creek, we ride there. You guys are building, make sure you give us some room. And I think they will, because, you know, some of these roads become official bike routes. Then they give you a wide shoulder and put a stupid green sign that says bike route. That's like putting up a sign that says road. Makes no sense. Just build a road so we can all use it. We don't need signs. Should be able to ride everywhere. So anyway, you can see we have a little bit of room. The barrels are sitting on the shoulder, so I'm just staying on the wide line here. And all I'm doing is the effort is the same. I'm not paying attention to any kind of speed. I'm just using the gear to keep my cadence up. I shifted when necessary to make sure I was never bogged down. And you can see all the drivers are giving us a lot of room. They understand. You get the one oddball, and that's all it takes, that does crazy stuff. And these are the people our peace officers have to deal with. And then they want to give them a hard time and say, oh, well, you know, I mean, there are bad people in every group, but these guys are dealing with the worst we have to offer every day. And sometimes, you know, they're people too. Sometimes they snap, you know. I don't know. I don't want that job. I don't want to be no peace officer. That's a tough job. You're dealing with people that are not reasonable most of the time, you know. It's hard to keep your composure and be professional. So I give them credit. When I interact with these guys, I don't have problems with these guys. I mean, I watch stuff on TV like everybody else, you know, Black Lives Matter, whatever. But I've lived in this country since 1983. You know, I came here as a young adult. I've never had problems with these guys. So I really can't relate, even though I'm an African living in America. But I can't relate because I understand there may be issues out there. Thankfully, I just haven't had to deal with it because when they pull me over, I'm polite. You know, I don't act like a jerk because they're people too. They're doing their jobs. We hired them to enforce the law. Paul and I laugh about that all the time. Like, we hired these guys. So why are you giving them a hard time when they stop you? You told them to do that. You're a taxpayer. I tickle myself. My wife always says that. I make myself laugh, but I just couldn't. That's how I think. You know, they work for us. We asked them to do that job. So, anyway, we're stopping at the Chevron after the light there so we can refuel and refill our tanks. And that's what you have to do. You have to listen to everybody in your group, and whoever needs to stop. Even if you don't need to stop, you accommodate that person. And you go ahead and make a stop, even if that wasn't the schedule. You know, that's the way you do. You want people to keep coming back to ride. You want everybody to have a ball. Make everybody feel welcome. You know, check the ego at home. Just go ride, have fun. This is where we're stopping. So it was a warmer day than we realized, and so we needed to stop earlier than we usually do, because usually we roll through here. So we're going to stop, we're going to refuel, and then we hit the road. And in fact, over here, I think Alan actually ended up treating us to 4 bottles of Gatorade. So we left with 2 full bottles of Gatorade and ice. Instead of building a ramp for the disabled, you have to build a driveway like this. Near the front is level, and then taper it, So there's no specific ramp.
It took them 100 years to figure it out.
Exactly. Instead of building a little narrow ramp, yeah, we're talking about the ramps. These people don't do ramps for the disabled anymore. They just build things more sensibly to where at the entrance, everything meets. So at this point, we're in the woodlands. We're on Terramont Drive. We're headed south. This is after our stop to refuel. I wanted Paul to get behind me. He was on the right because I wanted the cars behind us. There are cars behind us to know we're going straight. That's why I was waving him over. So even though they can't turn right, they know we're going straight by our position on the road. So at this point, we got fresh fuel. We got, you know, Gatorade, water, whatever in our bottle. I think I've got 2 bottles of Gatorade with ice. I've been drinking, so I'm feeling very good, very refreshed. That's why it's good to listen to the other riders. I'm glad Alan ran out of water, so we stopped, and we feel very refreshed. And I think Alan only brought 1 bottle. That was another reason he ran out. Telling Paul that my bike feels like it's new. The fit feels great. The kit, I mean, that pad in these shorts, I really love it. I already had a favorite Santini black shorts. Now these are just right in line. That NAT pad is very comfortable. It's not thick. I like the fact that it's a thin pad, but it gives you great support. I don't like very thick pads. I want to feel like I'm connected to my saddle. So right here, I rolled past Alan. You notice he slowed down by 1 mile an hour. I resumed 32 kilometers an hour when I took over. So you keep the same pace so that the person who's been pulling, they can rest. Because if they could pull at 20 miles an hour or 32 kilometers an hour, when they get in the draft at that speed, they get to take a break. They can drink, eat, relax a little bit, and then they'll have more energy to come back and pull later. That's the whole point of being in a group. I mean, it doesn't negate the fact if you want to attack and do stuff to have fun, that's great too. But as far as the group, working with the group, that's the etiquette. You try to match the tempo of the last guy, so you give him a break. Here, I'm trying to slow us down because that guy had stopped. And I checked, it's clear, it's a 4-way stop sign, and we're on a climb here. So it was good that we didn't have to lose momentum by coming to a complete stop. There's a cyclist going the other way. I waved at him. By now, it's a very warm day. You see, it's 28 C, so it's almost in the 90s, the upper 80s Fahrenheit. And it's humid. So our stop was perfect. We got fresh drinks. You know, the ice I have insulated bottles all year long. Because in the winter, it'll keep my drinks warm. In the summer, it keeps them cool. That's why I use them. I still have the clear plastic bottles, but my daughters use them in the house more than I do for anything, because that way they can carry drinks around and not make a mess. But as far as taking them on rides, I don't really take the regular bottles anymore. I just take insulated bottles. I love having a cool drink. Down here, we're going to turn right. Ash Lane, the street is called. And as we turn, the turn is a 3%. And you'll see it kick in. So I downshift to like a 5323. So I don't have to stand. Alan is standing to get his gear rolling. Then he sits. But because I downshifted, I could just pedal smoothly. I'm keeping the tempo the same. We've been riding for a while. You know, it's over 3 hours now. We're headed home. But we rode so long that we actually ran out of disk space. I found out that these discs on the SD cards have to be reformatted periodically, kind of like how you reboot your computer. If you don't do that, they keep what they call shadow files of what you've erased. So they actually end up keeping files that you can't see or use that take up your space. So you end up with less storage, and you can't really tell what's causing it. And so I did some research on it and went ahead and formatted them. On the Mac, you just use the disk utility, and they have something similar in Windows. And you erase them. Instead of just deleting the files, you erase them with your disk utility, which gives you your full space back. So we had gotten down to where we had like an hour on the card officially at this point. So I went and did the research. Now we have almost 2 hours and 49 minutes because I used the disk utility on the card. It basically reformats the SD card, which is something that they never send documentation on. The average person is not aware of that. So if you're having problems with your SD card storage, just reformat it. You can search online for things that will tell you how to do it if you don't know how. It's pretty straightforward. And it's for each operating system, Mac or Windows. They tell you how to do it. So here we're on Macbeth Drive, and I take the chance to get a drink. And this is what you do when there's a lull in the pace or you're going downhill, and you drink. You drink, you eat, you do stuff like that when the pace is steady. Don't wait until things are heating up and then you need to drink. You need to drink frequently. I drink at least every 15 minutes, whether I'm thirsty or not. In these conditions, I don't have to think about it because you will be thirsty if you're working. The wind felt good at the front when we're pulling. So when you stop, that's when we felt this. The Jersey did its job. It's such a light Jersey. I was blown away, the technology they have nowadays. So after getting over here, we have a nice wide shoulder. I'm keeping a similar tempo, just kind of rolling along. And at this point, we're winding down the ride. And I found out that the memory card got full because Paul was still holding the camera thinking we had room. The technology on the camera basically acted like it had room, but the card got out of space while he was filming this section here. And there's no way you can know. You have to look at the screen, and the screen goes to sleep after 10 or 15 seconds. So we had so much footage. So I hope this educates some people out there and basically entertain you guys. Cycling is a lot of fun. I just enjoy riding my bike. So Alan takes over, and I figure I'll let him lead us home. This is our home stretch. We're getting to Flint Ridge. We ran out of card space before we got into the Flint Ridge Hills, but really we didn't do anything. We just rode home. And so Alan took us home here. And I'm just sitting on this wheel here. You can see he's doing the same tempo, 32 kilometers an hour. We're going into the wind. The camera dubs the wind noise. Post-production, when I'm doing post-production, I dub the noise even more. But there was enough wind to where when you stopped, you could see the trees moving a little bit. So it was enough. It didn't slow us down much though. I mean, psychologically, I think it does, but we just kept the effort the same. At this point, I'm in zone 2 for the most part because I'm sitting on Alan's wheel and I'm following him very close because of the wind. someone had come to the channel and made a comment about how come you don't draft closely in the group ride. You know, if I'm filming, I'm not worried about drafting. Yeah, I work harder, but I'm trying to get an angle and get something that people can enjoy. If I draft real closely, I don't have much room to get a good shot. So what Paul is doing here takes a lot of mental energy as well as physical, because you're not drafting as closely as you would if you weren't filming. So you're working harder, and this is how you improve. So you think about it. Because of the camera, he's working even harder than he would if he didn't have the camera. So what if he goes to ride without the camera? He'll be flying. So right now he's catching more wind. I mean, he got a little closer here. But for most of the ride when he's filming, he's a ways back. That's what you have to do to get a shot. So when we train harder than we think we'll need to, so that in the situation of a grand fondo or whatever, we have enough in the tank to deal with whatever comes around. So right here, this is the end of our ride, and Alan is pulling us. Thankfully so, because I could have used the brake. So I'm just sitting on him and just keeping my cadence up, letting my legs recover. The way of, you know, just staying loose. So I hope you guys and girls got a chance to get out there this weekend, because this is pretty much what we did this weekend. It's what we do every weekend that we can. Ride our bike. When there's a doubt, I go for a bike ride. Not sure how I'm feeling? Go for a bike ride. Feeling a little down? Go for a bike ride. Seems to solve a lot of issues. So I hope that works for you. So whenever you're feeling down, go for a bike ride.